Hey, how's it going? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a movie review for you guys. So, for this review, I'll be reviewing Spider-Man 3, directed by Sam Raimi. This movie came out in 2007, and this is the finale of Tobey Maguire's trilogy as Spider-Man. And, you know, I will admit that whenever I first watched this movie, I liked it. There was actually a moment in time where this was my favorite of the trilogy. And of course, I was really young then and really didn't know much, you could say. But I would say that the movie hasn't held up that well, but there are definitely still things to like about it for sure. I would say that this is easily the weakest of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, without a doubt, and I'm sure many people would say the same thing. One of this movie's biggest problem is the amount of subplots that it has. It has, the plot with Peter Parker and Mary Jane's relationship and all of that. I mean, I know that that's something that some people have kind of complained about with this movie. Like, it's just more of Mary Jane and her drama and stuff. And yeah, I can definitely agree that it's totally unnecessary for Mary Jane to act the way she did in this movie. It's whatever though. And of course, the whole thing with the symbiote, and then the whole thing with Peter Parker actually finding out that Sandman was the one who murdered his Uncle Ben. And yeah, this movie is kind of all over the place. Plus, you got the subplot with Harry Osborn, played by James Franco, wanting to take revenge on Peter Parker because he believes that he killed his dad, since he was the Green Goblin, of course, and Harry became the next Goblin. And yeah, you could say that this movie has too many villains as well, especially considering, there's only one Spider-Man. I mean, yes, you could make the argument that No Way Home had too many villains, but there were 3 Spider-Men in that movie, and it made sense for all those villains to be in that movie. But why in the world did there have to be like 3 villains in this movie? Of course you had Harry Osborn, who was the new Goblin, you had Venom, and then you had the Sandman. And I know that some people said that this movie would have been better without Venom. In fact, I believe that Sam Raimi had a totally different script for this movie. I believe he actually wanted the Vulture to be the main villain of the story. And of course, Sony had a really big part in this, and they wanted Venom to be in this movie. And yeah, it's really unfortunate, and you really have to wonder what this movie would have been like if Sam Raimi had more control. In fact, I believe also before the 4th Sam Raimi Spider-Man film got canceled that, a lot of the ideas that he had for this movie, he had planned for the next movie. He actually had plans to have the Vulture be the villain in Spider-Man 4, and unfortunately that never happened. We never saw Vulture in a live-action Spider-Man film till Spider-Man Homecoming, so yeah, I mean, there is that, but so this movie is kind of a mess. It definitely is. I do think it's honestly one of the weakest Spider-Man films. Maybe not the absolute weakest, but one of the weakest, yeah, for sure. And the whole thing with the symbiote, yeah, it's kind of cool, He learns that, it's not good for him towards the end of the movie. It's having a bad impact on him. And he eventually gives it up, and that's how, of course, Eddie Brock, played by Topher Grace, ends up with the symbiote and becomes Venom. Now, what do I think of Topher Grace as Eddie Brock, aka Venom? I thought he was okay. I definitely prefer Tom Hardy as Venom, but Topher Grace did an okay job, I think. Yeah, there are definitely things to like about this movie, for sure. The fight scenes. Some of the fight scenes are kind of cool to watch. Particularly the part when Spider-Man is in the subway tunnels fighting Sandman. I thought that was definitely one of the highlights of this movie. And towards the end of this movie, Spider-Man learns to forgive Sandman, of course, and you know, it's a bit emotional. Those parts with Sandman are very emotional for sure. But yeah, this movie, you know, it's not all bad. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say it is, but it is definitely the worst of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. But it does have its moments. It does. So as a score for Spider-Man 3, what would I have to give this movie? Maybe a 6.5 out of 10, or maybe even a 7. I'm not sure. It's a little bit above average for me. But, you know, again, there are definitely things to like about this movie for sure. So that's my review for Spider-Man 3. I think it's a decent movie. Definitely not one of the best Spider-Man films, but still, I would say it's still worth checking out if you are a Spider-Man fan. And if you are someone who has seen the first 2 Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, but have yet to see this one, I'd still say check out this one just because it's the finale of the trilogy. But yeah, that's my review for Spider-Man 3, so let me know what you guys think. Have you seen this movie? Do you actually like it? Feel free to let me know. So on that note, thanks for watching and have a good one.